morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Here we are, episode 35 days later. We're here, and today we're going to talk about FNA reports or financial planning reports. I'm not going to get so much necessarily into the financial plan itself and what that should look like, etc. But I do want to focus on the outputs from systems. And we've discussed this in episode 31. So we had a long discussion about all the different aspects. And I'll start off with a recap on that. And then there's quite a number of things and questions I want to ask and then talk around that. And really just, sort of get us thinking around this and how we use these different things. And also, if there are any FNA providers that join us today, for them to sort of think about the way that the reports are being generated. Because I think we've been doing it for such a long time. And often, even I think maybe I may be stepping on a few compliance toes this morning. And that's cool. If I don't make you think and challenge what it is that you're after, then, we'll have to see. I just want to say, it seems like we've got a problem on LinkedIn this morning. And then when I click the link, it says the live video is unavailable and cannot play. So I hope that we are live here on YouTube. If you could just, I just want to see if I can do anything here. It says that it is live. If somebody can just on LinkedIn send me a inbox, just a direct message, whether you can see the video on there. I can't. But be that as it may, I will continue over here on wherever we are. So let's get cracking. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us this morning. I deeply appreciate it. The fact that you choose to spend your time with us and to have some coffee with me today. It's me and old Superman again. Thank you very, very much for that. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying this. And that you feel like it gets your day off on the right foot, and you get a good start to the day. And all of it. Today's obviously a big day. It's Thursday, so today the Minister of Finance is going to announce more things around, based on the announcements and everything that the President did on Tuesday. So it's definitely going to be a big day tonight. Well, not today, but tonight, I guess. I don't know if anybody knows the time, but let's see. So good morning, Kobus. Good morning. Very nice to have you back once more. 35 out of 35. I commend you. So well done. Raymond Westner, thank you very much, Raymond, for you and Bernette for joining us every day. Jaco, welkom terug, Jaco. Nice om jou hier te hê. Welkom, baie dankie. Yes, we are on 301 subscribers this morning. And we broke the 300. So, thank you very much for each and every person that has decided to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. It's a pity that we cannot do the same thing over on LinkedIn. But I do want to tell you that my connections have been growing consistently every single day with between 8 and 13 new connections every single day since we started doing this. Particularly in the last week or so. It wasn't like from the first one. But so it's also, I can count that as subscriber. So if you're on there, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it for connecting. I am sort of focused on who I connect with, and it's all people in the industry and professionals, that are working within the industry. So from financial advisors and consultants and, managers and anybody working in financial services, accountants and tax practitioners as well. So thank you very much for connecting with me. I really appreciate it. I don't take it lightly, and the whole mission is to bring you value. So if I ever don't do that, then let me know. All right. Razan, good morning. Nice to have you back. Up early this morning. Let's get cracking. I don't know if you ever sleep anyway. So Elmine Lottering, welcome back, Elmine. Nice to have you here. And then I love how Terence got his day going. He says, good morning. Such a beautiful day. Terence, I could just hear you awesome. I like it. Keep it like that. Let's, if you start off your morning like that, it can only go well. So let me see. That was me saying, and Tinus Brits, welkom terug. Ek dink is jou derde een vandag. So baie welkom. Dankie dat jy hier is. Conrad Becker, first time I think I've seen you here. Thank you very much. Ian McMaster, welcome, sir. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much. Carl van Vieren, good morning. Carl, thank you very much for sharing some of the episodes over on LinkedIn and that. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, I don't always see all of the things that are being shared and all of that. So thank you very much. If you do send out, share episodes afterwards or make people aware about the show and that, I really, really appreciate it. It's the way that I'm going to get the word out there. without your help, I'm just going to stay here in my little studio and talk to myself. So thank you very much for that. Mark Dunbar, good morning. Welcome back. Nice to see you again this morning. I hope you're doing well. Bongi, same there with you. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yesterday, we had the update on the SME relief measures for COVID for small business in South Africa. And that went very well. And we're really getting some good feedback from that. The video is available on my YouTube channel as well under small business. You'll see that there's a playlist for small business. So we'll just put those episodes in there. We're going to do that weekly now. So every Wednesday, we're going to do that. But we're going to do more than just all the updates and things on the relief measures. We're also going to start looking at, more like a lot of other issues and things around business for small businesses in that sense. So obviously small business, that applies to anybody that runs a small business. Doesn't really matter what you're in, but that is not that I do as part of the accountables and with Ida and Sunette. And there's also some more. Our Future X group is something that I will introduce to you over there as well. So we'll also make more of the group, the people that we work with closely. We'll also have them on the shows and that, but really adding value to business owners on that sense. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Great stuff. Kevin, good morning. Welcome back, Kevin. Nice to have you here once again. Dylan says he can see me. Fantastic. I appreciate it. I'm like you today. All good. Nice. Let me just quickly run through. Good morning, Stephen, and well done on that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Kuketsu, welcome back once more. Nice to have you here. And then Nick Dekker. Goeiemôre, Nick. Ek hoop dit gaan goed daar by jou in Centurion. I hear rumors that you're running pathways around your house, probably. Arun Bana, good morning, Arun. Welcome back. Then Carl, yeah, exponential growth. Well done. Yes. But luckily this is good. It's not bad. Then Jock Backett, good morning. All looking forward to today's conversation. Yes, I've got lots to say today, so I need to get into it. And then Hanari, welcome back. I'm going to see one more time whether I can view the video over here, because if I can't, okay, Tian and Robert let me know that it is working. Thank you very much, guys. For some reason, I can't get into my own link. It says the live video has been removed. So I'm very sorry if I cannot then obviously answer your comments and things like that, but please do comment. I'll go back afterwards and see if I can find the video. Let me just check here in my profile quickly one last time, whether I can probably see it here. I can't. So for some reason, it removed me from my own LinkedIn feed. Anyway, right. I'm sorry for that, guys. That's how it is. So let's move on. I will definitely get back to your comments on the recording itself, so I'll be able to view that at least. So let's do that. All right. Then obviously you've already said hi. Thank you very much for that. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. If you're over on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, you prefer to watch on LinkedIn, 100% great. Please connect with me over there. If you prefer that, you're more than welcome. As you know, that I serve financial professionals. So if you're in that sphere, whatever you do in that space, you're more than welcome to connect with me. Or if there's anything in technology that you think will add value to the community, you're also welcome to connect with me. Then please like and react to the video. Hoy those likes and those hearts and those, like, all the stuff. Just go big, please. Don't hold back, especially on YouTube, but also on LinkedIn, obviously, because there we can do more things. On YouTube, we can only like, and that's not the coolest thing in the world, but it is good. Then last thing, just as I said yesterday, let's just move. Where do I show? There. The business assurance refresher happening on the 6th of May yesterday. Thank you very much, guys. I mean, the previous refresher, like, we had maybe one registration on the first day, and then a couple of days there was nothing. And we had almost half of our registrations on the last day before, even on the evening before we had the refresher. And we had 30 people attend that. And yesterday alone, we started off with 12 registration, right after the show during the day. So up until yesterday afternoon, there was already 12 registrations, and all of you come from the show. So thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for your support. It means a lot to me. So yeah, but if you haven't registered already, it's only 350 Rand per person. If you're an Ignite member, it'll be 300. I'm looking at doing something special, possibly if you're also a Profile Me client. Okay, I'm considering that, Razan. So maybe I'm going to do something special for people. Profile Me is part of our offering in Ignite already, but I'm considering that. So possibly there will be something if you are a Profile Me client already, and you're not an Ignite member, that maybe I'll give you a bit of a discount as well. But so have a look for that. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so please go sign up. There's the link, and you can just go there. It'll take you straight to the page. All the information you want to know about this is on there. I get people asking me questions, but do I get CPD? But do I do this? Just click the link and everything is there. I promise you, I put a lot of work into these things to sort of give you everything that you could possibly know. And if there's a question that I then didn't answer on there, then please contact me. It's no problem. But the easiest thing is always to just contact and say, look, but it's there. I gave it to you. And then if you read it, just below that, there's the booking form. Please, I really, really appreciate it. And I'm not being sarcastic. It's just that, it's like we already make everything available that you would possibly need. So go have a look at that. And then, let's get into this, because today, as I say, I've got quite a lot to say. Okay. Alrighty. So here we go. So let me start off with a recap. I just want to put off this banner here at the bottom. All right. So in terms of a recap, what we spoke about in episode 31, because today is about, I want to move on from, there were some of the things that I didn't get to in episode 31. So episode 31 was all about FNA software. So the financial planning software, the financial planning tools part of the software specifically. And there was quite a number of things that I discussed in there. And there were things that I am very sort of set on and I have my opinions on, and things that I wanted to highlight, that you need to understand that not all planning tools are created equally. And obviously, if you're looking for one system, that you need to be able to say, well, where's the balance between the CRM and the workflow and this and the compliance and commissions and all of that stuff, and then find a system maybe that covers most of the things that you want, and then be willing to do things outside the system for the things that it doesn't do. So there is no one best system. I do have my opinions on who's got the best tools and that, but I'm not going to share that out in the open. I've got my own views on that. But be that as it may, there's three things that needed to come together, remember? So we said, well, you need financial planning knowledge. You need to completely understand the technology that you're using, and then you need to be able to engage with the client around everything that you did from that system. So we didn't get to that output and the engagement part really in terms of the system previously. And that's what I really want to talk about today. In this, we also spoke about, you have tools that go high level only, and then you've got tools that go very deep or could go very deep. And that's also the sort of the thing that I maybe didn't mention is you need to think about this, like just because a tool is comprehensive and you can say, oh, I've only got the standard clients, if you will, then rather, whenever something can go deep, it doesn't mean that you have to go deep with everything. You can just use it high level. The question is, can it go deep when you need it to go deep? So I think that is one of the points that we definitely what I wanted to drive home. Then we also looked at goal-based versus cash flow-based planning, and which is applicable, and whether your system can do both or it's focused on one, and which one do you prefer, which one do your clients prefer, what makes most sense. So we spoke about all of that. Then we also spoke about data integrity quite extensively. As I said, we're going to have a series on that coming up soon with one of the software providers. And we had this discussion and we sort of agree on a lot of stuff. So I decided that we will definitely do that. And they are interested to do this. So we will do that probably next week. Then tax. I think the question was tax or not. To what degree do you take tax, and to what degree could your system handle tax? So that's important. We also spoke about the impact of product solutions that is chosen to solve for a specific shortfall, and the impact that has on the shortfall itself, and how few tools actually take that into account, really. And that is quite important. And then the last thing we spoke about was, when you want to do integrated planning, and when you want to sit with the client and do adjustments as you're talking to the client to agree on a course of action, whether you are able to do that, and how the system facilitates the discussion. Or do you have to say, now I need to go back and I'll send you the updated figures, that kind of thing. And then I ended off with asking a number of questions, around, is this tool a business tool? Is it a compliance tool? Is it just what is it to you? And so all of that is happening in episode 31. So you can go check it out. It is on my YouTube channel, obviously. It's also on my LinkedIn profile. If you go on my LinkedIn profile, there's featured right at the top, just below my name and my headline, there's a and where the summary is, you will see the videos there. And if you click on it, you'll be able to see, because I pin all the videos that we've had. I pin there after we've done them, so you will be able to find episode 31 there to find out more. By the way, if you're watching the recording of this, thank you very much for watching as well, and for joining us. I really appreciate it. All right, so that's just a brief recap on what we chatted, and I know there's maybe some people that have missed this, that we couldn't or that couldn't be there, or they didn't know about the show or whatever. I got a few messages and comments and things afterwards, so you can go check it out, and then let me know what you think. So let's get into what I want to talk about today, and this is really about the output of these systems. So you've put in all your information, you've created your scenarios, you've done whatever. And now the system creates a report, and you can have obviously a retirement planning report, or a risk planning report, or a state liquidity thing, or a comprehensive report, or a very specific report, or whatever. And some of the other things you can do, I'll talk about, is that in most of the systems, you can choose which pages do you want and which pages don't you want. And when we talk about a customized report, that's often what the system providers think about when they hear customized report. Yeah, we do that. You can tick, I don't want these pages, I only want this, I only want that, and you can choose which graphs and things. So there is a level of customization, but it's not the customization or customized report that I'm talking about. So I'll get to that later on. All right, so who is this output really, for? And that is maybe a I don't know, double sort of question, or a dubious question to ask it like that, but maybe I should rather ask, if you look at current reports, who is it currently built for? So who is it currently generated for? And a lot of people will say for the client. I beg to differ. I don't think they're for the client. If you look at what is in there, and where it's coming from, no, it's more talking to the advisor. It's speaking the language of the advisor, and the advisor understands the report. And then the worst thing that we could do in my mind, and sometimes you just got to go through this and realize, like, maybe there could be a better way, and sometimes clients also don't know better, because I sit at the Mug and Bean in Clearwater Mall, there on the loft, and then you look down and you see everybody explaining so many things to people. You can see the advisor sitting with clients there, and you can see how they sit with the report and the quotes, and they go through page by page, from the top to the bottom, and they take them through. And I think the clients just like, my coffee word coat, So I don't know, but they're too nice to tell you that, listen, this is boring. This is not, I don't understand. I'm not following. How often has a client told you that just what's the bottom line? What do I need to do? That's sort of what they get to. And if you think about this, I mean, the tool is built for you as an advisor. So obviously, I mean, you understand the things that should go in there, how you capture it, what is relevant, what is not relevant, what is important, what is optional, that kind of thing. So what goes, the detail, all of the things that is needed to produce a financial plan. So that is the information that sits in the system. And then what happens is that the report that is generated is obviously generated from this information. And I'm going to talk about the layout of this report, the typical layouts, but then you get them and it's like just whatever is in the database is reproducing that on the report, maybe in a beautiful font and some pictures and graphs and things, but that's typically what it does. So it generates a report with the same information that you put in, that you understand and that you could read. And the other thing, and here's the big thing, and this is where I'm going to step on toes possibly, but these things are built for compliance. They are not friendly to client engagement. They are not friendly to be able to have a discussion with clients and to get clients involved in the discussion and with their planning. And that is why, because we've been led to believe that we need to disclose every single thing under the sun, okay, to the client. And that is why we get this thick report and we go through it page by page. Want ons moet alles mos nou vir die cliënt sê. So we need to give everything to the client. The assumptions, all of this stuff is important. We're being led to believe. I beg to differ. And this is where it'll be great to get some input. I want to start a debate around this. I'm not challenging or fighting about it or being just unfair about it. But in my mind is that we need to understand that, you can't do both in the same report. You can't cover compliance and have a discussion with the client around that same report. You just can't. So I'm going to talk more about those things as we go through. But those are my main things. The reports are built for advisors currently, and they are built with compliance in mind. And often when I know that some of the companies have got their own like custom made reports, all right? It reads, it's got all sorts of text and things and trying to tell a story. But you look at the contents of that report, I'm 100% sure, okay, 99.9% sure that those reports were built by compliance people, or they were checked by compliance people. And definitely. So maybe the frontline people had an input, but then compliance says, where's this? Why are you not? And then we put that all in, and then you get this very nice thick report. And that's just, I don't know, my view around that currently. So I don't know. What do you feel? If you're on YouTube, please tell me. Do you agree? Don't you agree? Am I missing the point here? I just want to see if possibly I could now view. Nope, I still can't view the things on LinkedIn. Eish, they are not nice with me this morning. Okay, anyway, be that as it may. Then, so that is the one point. Let me just quickly see if somebody's saying good morning, Khomotso. Good morning. I just want to make sure that wasn't a question or some feedback. So the next one then is who should it be for? And obviously, I think you could have sort of, from what I was saying, sort of get to like, this should maybe be not for us. This should be more aimed at the client. And that is the only person that you should really be thinking about when you create these reports. And, what does the client want? It is not, what do you need? Because all the information the advisor needs is there in the system. You can go look on the screen if you wanted to know. But when you create something that you want to hand to the client that makes it tangible, will they be able to understand that without your guidance? And some advisors may say, like, but I don't want them to understand because then they don't need me. No, it's not true. It's very important that we make clients feel comfortable and that we educate them through the process and that we enable them and we empower them to be part of the conversation and to challenge us on our thinking. Because then they buy in, because now it's our plan. It's not the advisor's plan for me. It is our plan. I had input into this. I participated in when we created this, and now it's something that they buy into a lot more, in my opinion. So yeah, I think from that point, it is important. And then when you look at the report and the layout of this report, does this report facilitate and enable discussion and participation? So those are the two things. Can the client understand everything that's on there without your help? And secondly, does it then enable the discussion? Does it empower them to have a discussion and to ask relevant questions to you? How often have you found that a client says, I don't know, John, you're the expert. What do you think I should do? Because I loved it. When I was a consultant, advisors would tell me, no, I do what the client wants. I don't tell the client what to do. Nonsense, man. Like 99% of clients is going to tell you, like, John, I don't know. Like, you're the expert. I trust you. I will go with what you tell me to do. How that happens often. I'm pretty sure about that because I've been part of that conversations and I've seen when you work with clients exactly what happens. So, yeah, but that is definitely what I think. That is who the report should be for. Not for compliance, not for you, not for nothing. It just should be focused on the client. Because otherwise we're going to miss the boat. So let me see. There's some two comments over here. Terence, it is critical that clients understand this is collaboration and partnership, ultimate success, in my humble opinion. I fully agree with you, Terence. That's why we get along so well. We have the same thing. Doctor only gives us scribbled prescription without rewriting their textbooks. Similarly, we should use FNA reports to simplify clients' financial to-do lists. Yes, and Nick, I mean, a lot of people say this, like, the question is, do we do this? That's the question. But definitely, I agree. Carl says he agrees 100%. A personalized, understandable report that contains a summary of all the detailed calculations means so much more to the client. Give them the option of requesting the detailed report. Yes, and I'm going to get to some of these things. So thank you very much for your comments and for your input into this. I really appreciate it. It's very valuable to see, because I haven't been in practice for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years now. When did I leave? 2016, I sold my practice. Yeah, no, so it's, what's that, 4 years. So yeah, it was February, it was 4 years. Fantastic. I didn't celebrate that. Anyhow, so next up, typical layout of the FNA report. I mean, and go look at this for your system that you're using, okay? Because it doesn't matter what you're using. And even if you've built your own Excel tool that you're using with a report that is generated from that, go look at the layout, because we are so conditioned into the way that these reports should look. And what you typically get, right? And you can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but there's a cover page, sometimes just plain, sometimes very nice with pictures and all sorts of things. But it's impressive. It's the first thing that a person sees. Usually got their name on it. So this is highly confidential, and this is for Francois de Toy, prepared by John Smith. And there you go. So that's usually what is on there. You've got a cover page. Then when you go to the second page, sometimes, well, more often than not, you will have an index that'll highlight like where's what in the report. And that, so you typically that kind of style. So you will have that. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it just starts off with the client's personal information and all of that. And I'll get to that in a second. Sometimes you'll find that it starts off with an executive summary. And at least if there's an executive summary, it's better. It is something that, at least the client can just read that. I mean, how often do you only read an executive summary? You don't want the details. So by starting off with an executive summary is not a bad thing. It's actually great. It's a step closer in the right direction. But then you have the client information. It is like, and I know why we do it, and I'll get to why this is so comical to me. But the thing is that we start off with like title, Mr. Name, Francois, middle name, Adrian, surname, de Toy, blah, 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 blah. There's all your information. It's like, okay, so I don't know who I am. So that may be my thinking. Obviously, from your point of view or from compliance's point of view, it is important to confirm that you've had the right information, the right ages, the right ID number, that the information is clear. But don't we do that in a separate process? I don't know. But it's like that. It's not the issue that you've got it in there. The issue is that it's right in, it's the first thing you see. So now we go through that. What is the next thing? The assumptions probably. And then the needs, or sometimes the needs, what did you say that we needed to talk about, and like what you want in death, disability, and all of this stuff, and then we've got assumptions. Then if you didn't do it there, and it's all right there in the beginning of the report, so it's worse if you don't have an executive summary, because now I've got to go through my personal information. I've got to check the assumptions, which I don't understand. Then I need to look at my needs. So at least, that was what I said. Then you go into all the details of what underlies this. So you look at assets and liabilities are in there, and income and expenses, and you've got what is the other thing? All your products, your product summary, and then comes all the calculations, and then we've got graphs, and we've got a very nice thick report like that. And maybe I want to ask the question right now is like, do you think that a thicker report has more value? Do you think that the thicker the report, the more you can charge for it? The more beautiful the thing, the more you can charge for it. Yes, there's perception and things that go with that, and it could be perceived to be more valuable if you've got a very nicely binded, not just a stapled or just a normal plastic ring binder or things like that. If you do it properly and yes, it would add value and it would make it more professional, and it does add to it. But at the end of the day, does it enhance the chances of the client implementing what it is that you're putting into that? And are all those things relevant? That's my question. So if you look at these generic layouts, even if we create our own reports that we do, and we just use the figures from the tool, we do the same thing. Our reports tend to follow the same sort of route. And I don't know, it feels to me like there's a better way. And this whole discussion around FNA reports started with Wessel Oosthuizen one day in a coffee shop in Cape Town. I think we were there in, I can't remember the area now. But anyway, we were there in the where was it? I can't remember. Anyway, but we met at this in the shopping mall at a Mug and Bean, and we were sitting there and we were discussing this thing, and that is when I started focusing on but what do these things actually look like? Because up until that point, I did it exactly like I explained to you now, and we started to have this conversation, and I don't think we really have an answer yet, but you're moving towards that and saying no, come on, there needs to be something better. And I think I want to share with you possibly some starting points of things that we could. And just some of the things, sometimes these reports end off with a summary just to summarize what they should do or what not or whatever. And then there's also appendixes sometimes at the back where you add more information with more detail and things on it. But be that as it may, that is sort of the thing. And let me see. I see there's some comments here coming in. Thank you very much for that. So let's see. I've answered your call. So Arun, Franz, I fully agree with what you said. The client is only interested in the bottom line and a solution from you as a financial advisor. Yes, I try and put myself, if somebody were to come and see me, I don't want to spend hours and hours talking through a report. And yeah, I understand the stuff. It is just a fact from just, okay, what is the thing? And I'm going to get to what I think is important in a second. I currently use Sanfin, and it is a customized system that will give you a product solution with preference to Old Mutual. Mutual offers advisors a similar offering. Yes, so Sanfin, isn't that X-Plan based, if I'm correct? Tian, good morning, Tian. To me, the most important factor of any FNA is the ability to co-create a plan alongside a client, where they are educated and a trade-off conversation is facilitated, which is product agnostic. Tian, you are singing my song, brother. I don't even have to comment on that. I think that is the perfect definition of what it should be like. So if you want a blueprint for the things that you should be focusing on, then take a screenshot of what Tian said there, because it is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Terence even goes, yes, Tian, yes. So you've now got a cheerleader there, Tian. He goes on to say the most value for clients is added by the financial planning experience and ensuring that they co-create the financial plan along the planner. It is not just a report that gets given. Yes. And we've touched on all of these areas, guys, in all the previous episodes. We've spoken about client experience. We've spoken about the tools. We're now speaking about this. There's a whole host of other things that we've spoken about. So we've touched on all of these things already in all of the episodes. So obviously, having a discussion like this is quite a, you have to take everything into context that we've spoken about up until this point. But again, Tian, I agree with you. Johan Forsley says, no, as a client, less is more. Please don't. Johan, you confuse me sometimes. It's like my wife. I ask her, was that nice? And she goes, no, it was very nice. So it's like, okay, no, it was. No, it wasn't. Like, anyway. Cool stuff. Kobus says, use the reports for you and compliance, but when it comes to your clients, we must keep it simple and give the client a holistic overview without the bells and whistles, and peace of mind and opportunity. Yes, I fully agree with that, Kobus, and I'm going to get into that now. Terence, you're getting romantic here. Keep it simple, stupid. Kissing. There you go. Please don't give me a thick report. Not going to read it. Yes, and you need to produce a CYOA report. Then by all means do that, but don't try to communicate with me about my financial plan via that. What is that report, Johan? I don't know that abbreviation. So that should be something with compliance, I guess. Yes, no, Arun is just confirming that, yes, the Old Mutual that they use, and Sunfin is using X-Plan. So yeah, awesomeness. Alrighty, so that is the typical layout of a plan. And as I said, does it mean that the thicker the report, the more valuable it is, the more impact it has? I don't think so, to answer you that question. And obviously you can see from the comments that most people don't agree with that as well. So what should the report then focus on? And this is where we should start. If you want to design your own report that you want to give to clients, you got to think like a client. You got to put yourself in the shoes of a client, put yourself in that seat across from you, and say, what is it? And it's very simple. You start with, what is important to the client? And if you go back to the conversations that you had with those clients to say, what makes you lay awake at night, for example, whatever. But if you get to understand their deepest fears, their deepest sort of dreams and their motivations and why they view the world in a certain way, then you know what is important to them. You should know this even before you start doing the financial plan. You should know exactly what is important to them. So then in my mind, whatever we give them should focus on that and that only. That is what it should be focusing on. The next thing is then, what specific questions did they have? What were the things that you left there with that they said, oh, we want to know this and this and this? And that's what you focus on in your report. That's all you want to answer. So what is important to them, and give them the answers to the questions that they had. Because that's why they employed you in the first place. That's why they said, please help me do this. This is what I want to figure out. And then that's what you do. How you got to it and what you took into account and all of that stuff. You should have made sure that you had the right information before you did this anyway. So when it comes to a compliance or a complaint or anything like that, you must be able to show from your client file that this is everything that I considered and this is how I considered it. But really, do you need to show that to the client to tell them, listen, this is what I considered? I can guarantee you that if there is something that the client don't understand when you do it in this simple way, they will ask you, but where's my holiday house? But where's this? Where's the income? They will see something is missing if you did miss out on anything. We don't need to give, if they feel that something doesn't look right, they will ask you, how did you get to that? What is that based on? And then you've got the knowledge and you've got all the facts and things that you can refer back to. But you don't need to put that into the report at all. And so you just go and answer the questions. And also then the way that you present this report or the way that the report is structured should be in line with, and I'm talking about the language you use, the pictures you use, the explanations you use maybe, should be in line with your client's level of knowledge and their past experience with financial planning. You can't give the same thing to me, for example, that you give to somebody it's the first time that they've ever sat with a financial advisor. I don't think those reports can look the same. Maybe they can, because the more simple, the better. I'm just making it. I don't know. We need answers to these questions, I think, or we need to ponder them at least. And then also just in what is their preferred way to receive this? Do they just want pictures? Do they just want words? Do they, what is their preference? How do they want to see this? And when you start asking your clients, how do you prefer me communicating with you? And how do you prefer me presenting information to you? In what format? You'll get an idea that there are 3 or 4 different types that everybody either fall into one of these 4 buckets, or maybe 5, maybe 3 in your business. It doesn't matter. But the way we know is by not assuming. We need to ask clients about, what do you think? How do you think this is important? Right. So you need to consider the use and how can you use these things together, because often you can't have 5 different versions of a report. But you need to know what is important to your client so that you can incorporate all of this into the report in some way. So it's the use of words, it's the use of images, it's the use of graphs, and graphs are not images. Okay, system providers think graphs are images. They're not. They're graphs. So you need to have a mathematical understanding of things if you want to read graphs. So you need to look at the use of images in that sense. Do you bring in other things into that? What about indicators? I've seen a popular thing, and I saw this for the first time on a benefit statement from Old Mutual, I think, where they have these little traffic lights that'll show you, are you red, green, or orange in terms of how you're tracking towards your retirement. I think it's brilliant. Those things are extremely powerful. So using indicators rather than graphs, I think it's a much more powerful thing to do. We understand red, orange, and green. We understand that. So I'm okay, or fool, I've got a problem, or I'm cool. So just that is a powerful thing in itself. And then also, what about things like mind maps? Mind maps has been a thing that is a lot of advisors have been using. Some systems incorporate mind maps into them. They've got a mind map functionality. Other tools are built purely around the mind map concept. And then there's obviously external mind map tools that one could use in order to create mind maps. The only problem is that when you use these outside tools, you've got to go and create one manually every single time. But be that as it may, there is this possibility. And clients because mind maps allows you to see how things fit together and how things relate to one another, which is very hard to do in words. Even if you say this is there, and if you don't see the picture with the line connecting everything together, it's very hard to really follow that. All right. Yes, Terence, absolutely. And then Nick, as the client, do you want a 30-page summary or 1-page executive summary? Guess their preference. That's a very simple thing. Cover your own. Oh, there you go. Okay. Thanks, Terence and Johan. I appreciate it. Now I've learned something new. You know how long it took me to figure out what YOLO means? You only live once. And even if I say that, I think about 007. So, yeah, interesting. Alrighty. So 2 versions in my mind is required. You can't just have one report, that you give, and try and cover everything in that report, and think you're going to be able to engage with the client and convey the right information, the right message, and get clients involved if you also want to cover your own butt in that sense. Okay. So you need to think about, like, what do I have for compliance purposes and what do I have for my client engagement part? And the client can still sign the documents for the compliance part to say, well, I agree with all of this and blah, 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 blah. And I don't even think that is really necessary. If you can build a process where a client confirms the information they handed to you in the first place is correct, and they sign for that, like they do on our asset and liability form that I shared with everybody that was at the financial planning refresher. And if you want a copy of that, you can use it. You can just let me know. Send me an email. I will send it to you. But in that document, it asks for all of your information, and then at the bottom, the client and the advisor sign to say what the information is true and correct. So there's other things that you can build in to make sure that you can show that you've used this. And then if you've got the FNA itself, you can show that this is what I've used. Okay. So I think we need to get more clever. It's not to get the client to sign for more things, in my opinion. And I'm not a compliance officer, right? I'm not a phase specialist at all. If you ever want looking for phase training, don't come to me. I'm not the right person. But I'm telling you today that we are overcomplicating things. And that is why it's become so difficult, is that why we spend so much time doing compliance versus speaking to clients and having reams and reams and reams of paper. You can do everything on your system and keep it there and have the client sign the record of advice that they need to sign, and sign the report that you've discussed with them, and sign all of these things. As long as the numbers match up from that massive thing that you did here with what you presented to the client, and you can show that the information I used here and the information I got from the client is still the same, and then the assumptions that I used were fair and reasonable and they make sense in this scenario, you're not going to have an issue. How in the world, if they look at the reasonable advisor, will they have an issue if you do it like that? So we need to get more clever around this. And this is also where I see a lot of systems falling over, where you've got a financial planning system that's being implemented, but now everybody wants to incorporate all sorts of wonderful things because we're trying from a compliance point of view. And I think we've taken compliance too far. You can comply and you can absolutely stick to the letter of the law and the regulation without cutting down a tree every time that you're trying to do that. I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't know how you feel. Am I missing the point? I'm open to hear that I'm crazy and that I'm missing the point completely. And don't just agree with me because you feel like, yeah, I'm also now hot full of doing all of this paperwork and blah, blah, blah. Just think about it from your business's point of view, from your advisor's point of view. Does it make sense or does it not make sense? Righty, then, can you have if you go and you design your own report that sort of complies with the things that you think is going to make it easy for you to talk to clients and to engage with clients and do things like that, can you then have that built into your system that you're using, whether it's Xplan or Avalon or At Work or which the other people, Elite Wealth or whoever you're using? It doesn't matter. Overseas thing, it doesn't matter. Am I able to build this into my system? And the answer to that is, well, quite often, yes. To get it in there is usually the challenge, but also you need to check with your provider. Do they allow for your own physical? Not a tick box like I don't want this and I don't, because it's still their output. It's not in your format. It's not your words. It's not nothing. And often what they do is you can get this report, you get it in Word, and you can add your own comments and things afterwards. But mainly the report is structured in the way that they've done it in the system. So there is a form of that. But if you literally want your own system or your own report in your own format, because this is the thing. If I'm using At Work and you're using At Work and that person is using it doesn't matter. Replace At Work with whatever system. There are thousands of people using the same system, using the same tools, getting exactly the same output. It's just the logo that's different. So how do you distinguish your own business from the person next door who's using the same tools as you? It's through your report. Okay, so you can have your own report. But then, you need to understand what is possible. You need to speak to your provider and say, what information can I pull from the system? Because you want to automate it as far as possible. And that's usually where the trouble comes, because you need some knowledge to be able to do that. So either you're going to learn to do it yourself, or you're going to get somebody to do it, or you're going to get the provider to do it for you. But obviously there will be a cost involved. But I think if you really do it well, and they're willing to assist you, it's going to be a big investment into your own business if you do that. Or the alternative to that is obviously to get used to, like, what is this report really telling me that I do get? And then you have your little own thing that you just do manually every single time, because you can have a template that you can just easily change. That's what I used to do back in the day. I had my own template. I knew exactly where the numbers came from that I needed for this, and how I interpret it and how I explain it. So, it doesn't take that long, but there was not one report that I didn't have to customize, even though I had my own template. So you need that kind of flexibility to be able to do that as well. So no more comments. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add at this point before I continue? Anything else that you think is important, or that we need to consider or think about? Please share that. It'll be really great to hear from you in that sense, to see where we go. And so just quickly again, please remember where's the site? The business assurance refresher. Please sign up if you can. Don't do it if you can't, please. I don't want you to sign up for anything of mine unless you are really interested in it. It'll add value to you, and whether you are in a position to do that. But if you could, as I said, it's only 350 Rand. I really appreciate it. If you could support us in this. It's 3 hours of content. We're going to go through all of the areas. We're going to look at estate duty, income tax, and CGT implications. We're going to look at pitfalls. We're going to look at interpreting, financial statements, as well as business valuations, and the things that we need to look out for there. So it's very practical, very condensed and focused on the things that we need to know about business assurance. So I think it's going to, I'll not think, I've done this as a course. I present this as a course as well, and it's a lot of value that comes from this. So definitely this is the condensed version. And if you can, please join us for that. Let me just take that away so you can actually see that. And then remember also the recording for the last SME relief stuff that we did yesterday. Also on the YouTube channel, it is available over there. We don't live stream that to LinkedIn. We only do that on YouTube. Cool beans. So that is my story for today. So if if there's no other questions or anything like that, I'm not going to keep you for longer. It was a little bit shorter today, but if you do have any questions, and if you have any questions, let me just shut this off. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, it doesn't have to relate to anything specifically we're speaking about today. If you've got any questions you want me to answer, you're welcome to ask. I will do my best to answer this, and we can take it from there. So Nick is saying advantage and disadvantage of a template is repeatability. The problem lies in possible complacency when using the template. Yes, and this is why, just like you review a client annually, you should look at your reports at least twice a year to sort of see, is this still relevant? Are you still using it? And that's what I'm saying. So maybe template is also not 100% the right work. A framework is more important, to know that this is the flow of my report. These are the important things that I do need to do, the pointers and things. But, things like your introductions, and so there will be certain things that will be kind of standard. And at least if you have the framework there, you can easily delete what is not applicable. And then you can go right in the things that needs to happen from there. So that is definitely something that you could do. But there is that you've got to be wary. Don't get like, this is now been working for me for the last 20 years, because if you're still using the one from 20 years ago, it could be a problem. Arun Franco, when are you going to finalize the 2021 tax calculator? I'm starting on this, not today, tomorrow. And then hopefully by the weekend, I'll be done with that. It's just what's happening is that a lot of people are sending me stuff to do, content to create and things like that. So obviously then prioritizing that over that, to be quite honest. But so the planning is to have it done by the weekend, Arun. Yeah, it is in my mind all the time. So I will do that. And I think one of the sessions, what we'll do is I want to talk about the opportunities from tax. So I've got a webinar that goes about the 9 opportunities from income tax. I'm not going to do the same thing. There are certain elements of that I want to focus on. And then in there, you'll be able to see what we do with that tool. So Jaco, do yourself a favor and go and investigate Asset Map. Yeah, we've interviewed Asset Map before. So there's a lot of things that you need with any of these systems. What Asset Map does extremely well is that they address a lot of these things that I've spoken about today, about the client engagement. They focus on the things that's important to the client. They actually have built a client engagement process around the report that they create. There's other things that I ask of Asset Map, that sort of comes from my first episode where we spoke about financial planning software. So you got to go deep into this. And we had a great interview with them, episode 10 of the podcast. So you can go just propulsion.co.za/EP10, and you can go listen to that. I spoke to Kirsty de Tooy. It was a fantastic interview. They got loads of people from our show, and they signed up people because of that interview. And I must say the feedback that I'm getting from advisors that did do that, saying thank you for introducing me to them. So I know it's a fantastic tool and people like it, but you need to look at everything in context as well and say, well, what is really important, from a detail high level point of view versus this as well. So that's why I say it's like getting everything married between how do you go, detailed enough from a financial planning point of view and simple enough from a presentation point of view or a discussion point of view. It's sort of how do you do that? I think that's where the answer is, but definitely you need to go check that out. Yes. And Nick also says that Asset Map is great. Alrighty. Great stuff. So if there's nothing else, I'm sorry if you were watching on LinkedIn and it didn't work. It stopped working. I don't know what the hell happened today. On my side, it showed it's streaming live. So if it does, I'm sorry I couldn't interact with you on LinkedIn. I'm very sorry for that. But I'll go check it out when we're done. But otherwise, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic day. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. And I will let you know, or just keep an eye out. By tonight, I will post what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Working on a couple of new guests as well. So excited about that. And then the series about data integrity, which we're also working on. And so from me, Francois, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I hope that you're doing well. And say hi to your family for me. I'll see you back tomorrow. Thank you and keep well.